Are you gonna be in the video? If you're new to my very random channel, my name is Allie. I want to talk about my experience with pregnancy. This is my second pregnancy. And without getting too political, there's a lot of conversation about pregnant women in this country and what they should and shouldn't do. In my situation, I am excited to be pregnant. I want to be pregnant, but I want to talk about it because I feel so seen and heard when I see other women talk about it. This is my second pregnancy. My son is 14 months old, and I was on birth control pretty soon after because I stopped breastfeeding about 2 months after he was born, just for various reasons. I could talk about that another time, but that's what worked best for us. I had just been trying different birth controls and honestly also struggling to advocate for myself. So I had postpartum depression and I was really mostly dealing with that. And then being a primary caregiver, which is like a big adjustment as someone who has always worked and I didn't have any family around. I was on this birth control. It just wasn't working for me. I think I switched 3 times in total. The last one I was on made me have a period for 2 weeks out of the month. So I was on my period for half of time and space. That was not fun. I just quit using it and then I requested a different one. Then we moved and it was just like, ugh, I don't even want to take a different one right now, which I have nothing against birth control. I just was really over it. When I was on birth control before, it took months for my body to recognize that I wasn't on it anymore. So got pregnant. And in case you needed to know, if you don't want to get pregnant, you have to use a method of birth control. This lovely background is lovely because we are renting. We just moved, have our old insurance from where we used to live. So it's not based here. But I found out how much of a problem that was going to be when I started making calls. I know from my last pregnancy that they typically don't like to schedule you until around 9 weeks. All I need is to touch base with an OBGYN and like get an appointment or be told this is what you need to do to make sure everything's healthy and good. My experience with calling offices has been not great. Like the first question I've gotten in the new city we live in, they're like, what insurance do you have? And I tell them, they're like, oh, well, that's out of network. And then they act like they can't provide me medical care because I have an insurance that they haven't heard of. I was honest with all of the people I spoke with and I was like, okay, I am pregnant and I'm just trying to get the appropriate care for myself. I'm literally begging the people on the phone, when do I need to come in? What should I do? The person in the front office is still concerned with insurance. It's a symptom of how the system works, right? That's like their job is to make sure people who come in can pay. I guess it's just frustrating because obviously I care about my pregnancy. I've been told based on the laws in the state where I live that society cares about my pregnancy, but actually there's nobody who cares about it other than me and my spouse. It's extremely frustrating. I called around and was able to make an appointment with one office and they're like, okay, well, like the out of network fee is $750 for your confirmation of pregnancy appointment. It's the same as being self-pay because they just want to make sure that you can pay for the appointment. I asked the person, I was like, okay, that's fine. But like, if someone isn't covered and if they can't afford that, and they're like, oh, well, we just say like call around to other OBGYNs. And I was like, okay, well, you guys, the office I was speaking to, are the best OBGYN in this area. So that's what you tell women to do, just like call around if they can't afford that. They're just like, yeah, I can pay. But what if someone can't and they want to get good health care? I mean, welcome to America, right? So called another office and this is a family practitioner's office and it was the same conversation at first. What insurance do you have? And then they were almost trying to tell me that I couldn't come to that office because I didn't have that insurance. I was able to talk it through with them, but they were just like, well, we're booked up until the end of December. Okay. Well, is it okay for me to wait? I don't know how far along I am. And they were just like, well, I don't know. We don't know. I had a different experience in my first pregnancy because I was already part of a hospital system. I knew better where I was in the pregnancy based on like tracking my cycle. And so I just was told wait 9 weeks and then come in and it was fine and it was smooth. So it's just this gap if you decide you need an OBGYN when you get pregnant. And then if you move somewhere new and you're looking for a practitioner and you don't have insurance, I'm sure that there's a diversity of experience. I had a not great one. The end of the story is that I have an appointment I will have to figure out how to pay for that appointment, and to me, thankfully, that is secondary. It's not ideal, but I want to get the best care I can. The way that I look at practitioners, I look up reviews. If you Google a practitioner's name, there are usually multiple ways they've been rated, like on Google, on ZocDoc, for example. And then I also look at their credentials. So I look at like what, not necessarily what undergrad, but sure, what undergrad, but then what medical school and then what residency they did. I usually try to make sure it's a good school and a school where they would have gotten really great research heavy foundation. Hopefully, I prefer like a provider who's relying more on like the data than anecdotal experience. So, and everybody's different. So that's how I assess who I want to go to. And then I also assess like my personal experience with them. I had an experience with an OB/GYN that I didn't like in the town we're living now. We lived here before, and I just switched. I just don't think it's worth it, especially with something as personal as an OB/GYN. I think it's super important to advocate for yourself, and if there's something that you're unhappy with about your provider, go get another one. I mean, that's the positive of the system we have. Like, you can just go and get another provider. Hopefully, I know that there's some HMOs that make that super hard and ridiculous. The things that are different this pregnancy, first of all, don't know how far along I am, but last pregnancy at 7 weeks, I hated coffee. The smell of it, the taste of it, couldn't even taste it for the whole pregnancy. This time, that's not the case, which makes me really happy because I love coffee. My last pregnancy, I basically drank matcha morning and afternoon, or matcha green tea or matcha and decaf, because I love like a warm drink. It's just soothing and comforting, and it's a nice self-care thing. But this time, I'm able to do coffee. I just wanted to let everybody know this was a horrible misunderstanding with my body. The update is that sometimes at 7 weeks you don't yet know how the first trimester is going to go. I didn't realize that she would decide that not only coffee, but like everything I love is horrible and will make me want to throw up. And yes, did I burst a blood vessel in my eye in the 3rd trimester, which I am in now, from barfing? Did I barf more in the 3rd trimester than I did in the first? Yes. Yes, I did. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was body image and like where that is starting differently in this pregnancy. Trigger warning for body dysmorphia, eating disorders, because I'm going to talk about how I feel about my body. I'm going to mention weight. So maybe just skip the end of the video if that's something that is hard for you. And I speak from experience. I had an eating disorder. I just encourage you to do what's best for you. So my first pregnancy, I had never felt better in my body than I did. I had a breast reduction for back pain a year prior, and I was just feeling so great in my body. And so when I got pregnant, I just felt cute my whole pregnancy. The photos I put on the internet of my pregnancy, I showed my belly, which I wouldn't normally even do, like not pregnant. I was just like so proud, whatever. It was a great experience. And this pregnancy, I am 20 pounds heavier than I was. And I have been this weight before in my life. And to be honest, I think this might be a healthier weight for me. I feel better. I don't get as shaky between meals. I don't really get shaky between meals. I feel physically better, but when I look at myself, the standard, like preferred female beauty, I don't feel like I finish that as much. Just starting at a different place. In some ways, very liberating because I have already been through this before. And even though every pregnancy is different, I feel more confident. Like, okay, like I can do this kind of confidence. I hope that there is someone out there who finds this helpful. I hope that my experience just makes someone else feel validated or empowered somehow. That's the goal of this. So I hate doing outros for videos. If you like this, please like and subscribe. I will come back and do some more. I hope you have a great day. Take care of yourself. And remember to disconnect from the stress of the world and just do something fun. Okay. Bye.